Hello and welcome. It is on. Hello. Is that loud enough? Yeah, I'm hearing that. Hello and welcome to Beaverdale Books, to our spacious new area. People on Facebook may be wondering where we are, but yes, we are still here at Beaverdale Books. Thanks so much for coming for tonight's book talk and your patience and flexibility with our remodeling. Before we begin, I want to mention a huge event that we've got coming up this Saturday. We are looking forward to the DSM Book Festival, and that is on May 2nd. It opens at 11 a.m. It goes all day. It will feature 4 headlining authors, including Alan Eskins, Art Cullen, Julie Murphy, and Taylor Wolfe, plus a free showing of the movie Iowa. And that's at 5 o'clock. And then we've got 30 different panels of authors who are going to be talking about a variety of subjects, from fiction, nonfiction, mystery, photography and prose. We even have a poetry and pints event, and Big Grove Brewery may show up with a few little samples of pairings with some poetry. So come out. It is a free event, and it is at Franklin Event Center, which is just down the street at 4801 Franklin Avenue. You can find all the details on our website, and I just passed out the books too. All right, tonight's program, Domestica. This book of poetry firmly plants its feet at the fraught intersection of inheritance and the escape from it. Samuel seeks whatever answers are held in the deepest recesses of silence, and to startle us into paying attention to the world. Samuel Piccone is the author of the chapbook Pupa. I forgot to ask, is that correct?
Pupa.
Pupa, okay. His work has appeared or is forthcoming in publications, including Sycamore Review, Frontier Poetry, Washington Square Review, and Rhino. He serves as poetry editor at Raleigh Review and is a lecturer at Iowa State University. Jennifer L. Knox's most recent book of poems is crushing it. I think she has a new one, though, that she just brought in.
I brought in a book of essays.
A book of essays.
With ADHD.
Excellent. Okay.
Yes.
And we'll have those available next door as well. Her work has appeared in anthologies such as You Are Here, Poetry in the Natural World, and Best American Poetry. She is the recipient of the Iowa Arts Council Fellowship and an Iowa Humanities Grant. Jennifer teaches at Iowa State and is the proprietor of Salt Liquors, a small spice blend company. Tara Labovich teaches college-level creative writing, composition, and speech writing. Their teaching, poetry, and nonfiction has won awards such as the Pearl Hogre Grant, Adelaide Bender Reville Prize, and the Monarch Queer Literary Award, among others. Their writing can be read in journals such as Brevity, Tractor Beam, Crannog, Salt Hill, and the Citron Review. Please join me in a warm Beaverdale Books welcome for Samuel, Jennifer, and Tara. Tara, let's do it!
Today I'm going to be reading just a few short poems and a very short excerpt of a fiction piece. A lot of these pieces come from what I'm working on right now about the Midwest, ecology, queerness, relationships, history. So the first poem is the first poem I wrote in this project a few years ago, and it's called I Don't Talk About the Midwest, because honestly, what is there to say? Except for the corn is ascending. It grows out of cracks in the pavement, gutters, my ears. Once I saw a cob float up to the crown of a tree, and Mother Mary was there waiting and accepted it with open arms. Oh, and when the wind comes, it comes skirling, wailing from beyond the horizon. What is beyond the horizon? horizon. I could chain myself to the house and never leave, and this world did not change. Okay, it changes. Even here, in a slow dribble. Last February, I lost all my toes to winter. This February, I only lost two. One to the lake, the other to the sky, which grows taller here than anywhere. That is, till it bends down with its creaking spine and waits for me to leave my house, gray eye pressed to the nail slot. Out of all of the things that change, the cold changes. The cold changed me. Find me now wandering out in -10, garbed in basketball shorts and a lacy sweater with holes for beauty, wind screaming, corn stubs humming, the horizon lending a pink eye from beyond the lone hill, blushing sheepish at the open sunset and naked plains. This next poem is called When I Wanted to Be a Girl. Still I feel it, that hollow hunger, the space between hills. It was a rush like rain, in the gullets, or insistence, beauty, I mean. The question of what matters answered quick, wet by lip liner. I don't mean to say that the girl word ended with image. I only mean to say the image was all that wanted me, and I was good at it, and I was good. And I hear it calling still, as if circling the cement drain down a long tunnel. A light on the other side I never quite reached. This next poem is called Ode to Midwest Salad. Before the wedding, the women gathered in a blue house with a porch to play games and give complaint about marriage. There were no dirty jokes, but there was shredded crab and mayonnaise, lined up like bridesmaids on the kitchen counter. Then came the rainbow processional: Snickers salad, potato salad, pea salad, and shrimp with bacon, egg salad, grape salad, and creamy pineapple fluff salad. What is salad beyond salad? Legacy haunts the back of these recipe cards, folded edges for devotion, handwriting to show love, the curling L, the reaching E, what we make with what we've got in the pantry. What is love without misspelling a word or two? What is love without mixing what we shouldn't? Cooling off, then warming right back up as we squat with the children on the summer porch. This next one is called Ebb and Flow. On the first day, go drowning. On the second day, pull yourself sopping out of the ocean. On the third day, keep a record of your cravings. How high are your tides of desire or misery at 12 noon, at 1 a.m., at first light? Note when you are strongest against the current, and when do you break around the edge of wanting? When you most want to give in, nothing you say will be true. I found when I finally stepped into the tidal pool of grief, gone went the knife surge of wanting. There I stood, the creatures of my love swimming around me. I had forgotten all the months of tending. The water will no longer walk to the sea, but the animals still go on. I bent down to watch a crawler. I looked closer. This story is called The Order of Soil. It came out in December, and this is just a short excerpt. It's from the very beginning. It's about a futuristic order of nuns who have come out into the Midwest to try and save the prairie. The Order of Soil. Sister Claudine understood why, in the olden days, scientists and priests alike believed Earth existed at the center of everything. She stood at the edge of Main Street, where the brick road was chewed first by dust and dirt, and then by the rising teeth of the prairie. Between the remaining buildings of the ghost town, shoulder-height grasses spread gold in every direction. It was easy to imagine that she stood in the center of everything. The center of the Midwest. The center of the whole world. The center of the goddamn universe. This egocentrism, Sister Claudia knew, was her greatest failing. The Mother Superior always reminded her of this with a gentle pat on the top of her head and that smile that never quite left the corners of her mouth. In an attempt to break this iniquitous habit, in these moments, Sister Claudine did her very best to think of God. As she looked out into the sprawl of grasslands, she could taste the sweet dryness of earth marrying air. She wondered if the Holy Spirit, who existed everywhere, ever took the form of soil. In her 10 years of living here, soil was everywhere. It darkened the fabric of everything she wore, and every night she scrubbed it out of every crevice in her body. She could not escape dirt, and yet she found herself easily escaping the presence of her dear Lord God. I've got 3 more poems for you. This poem is called Girl Contemplating Woman. Of course, we thought they had it all figured out. Lip liner, love. From down there, we thought women had figured out the age-old problem of goddamn feeling. They unfruffled. They skirt-suited and curled. It felt good to look up at the stars, the neck stretch, the ache of looking and having looked, of having a place to go. Dreaming is just knowing there's something beyond the here of it all. A dream can save a girl. A dream can prison a girl if she thinks the dreaming alone can save her. I had never seen a woman cry until the Twin Towers came down and my mother crumpled on the floor beside the TV, phone pressed so hard to her ear it marked her cheek red, the international dial tone ringing. I was lied to. A woman's tears are the canary, not the coal mine. A woman is a girl who's been force-fed beauty and turned herself into art object. A woman is a girl who doesn't have to tell anyone where she's from. A woman is a girl on the other side of the dark forest. See, I never thought girl was an insult. I never imagined youth to be a burden. Everyone says there is a line. There is no line. There is only the world and its teeth and us coming out churned. The difference between girl and woman is one is a dream and the other a dreamer. This piece is called When You Hear Your Name Called from the Cornfield. What the turn soil gives is language, not magic. What the farmer gives to a monster in her field is a buckshot to the leg and her dog nipping at beastie heels. Or worse, the cooped-up girl with nothing better to do might go sprinting after the cryptid, hollering, looking for a good time and a story to tell her friends. On this glacier-flattened land, we see our monsters miles off. There's language and magic lost, churned by tractors. Don't you know stories come up through the grass, loosened just by leaving them alone? In Iowa, we don't get creepers or crawlers. They don't last in these fields. So when you hear your name called from the cornfield, it's only because the demon is as lost as you are. And the very last one. This is The Hope of a Blue Jay Sings. Like an elder, crock full of story. Look up. The juniper still holds onto blue, blue, dusty berries. If you come to a place again, time begins to fall like seeds from the feeder. Any order, always hunger. I fall between seasons, but hands in dirt, I hear the American robin carol again, and I forget for a moment. I believe, despite knowing, it is spring.
Can you hear me? Good.
Well, they're asking on Facebook to turn up the volume, so.
Okay. Oh, boy. I didn't even think about the people in the thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Can I take this up? So I'm
Yeah,
not
you
down
can
like that?
you can make it taller.
Can I?
Yeah. Samuel can help you. He does. There you go.
Thank you. You can make it taller.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm going to read a poem out of this book, You Are Here. And this book is available. And then I'm going to read some new poems because I haven't written any in a long time. And this was National Poetry Month. And I tried to write a poem a day and I failed. But I did get some. This is a poem about the little egress, no, it's not an egress window. It's the little window in the shower that's way up high. So this is called Central Iowa Scenic Overlook. At 8 inches tall, 18 inches wide, and 6.5 feet off the floor, the awning window in the shower's not for light or looking. It's a utilitarian slit that lets out steam and stops the walls from swelling their cellularities. September through June, you have to look up to look out at a sliver of orange garage roof pinned by late day hard water haze that makes it tough to towel off between the toes somehow. To skirt the third-rate degree, have I ever been happy? How long has the AC been on high, feeding us our own sour breath and dead skin flakes? But by July, garden feelers creeping up the shower's walls outside get tall enough to crest the sill, reach the pane, and flood the pale tiles in submarine greens and squishy pinks from dawn and on and on. First comes sage, sunflowers, and bumblebees so pollen-socked they can't lift off. Thus they lumber over earth-star perforated patchy grass like unshaved sheep, dodging the dog, who will eat them. Dodging the dog, who will eat them. Sharp shreds of sunflower seeds raining from sparrows' overstuffed beaks, and swashbuckling chipmunks casting shred mid-backflip and caching them in flower pots. This system, insatiable. Seriously. Something, a possum, dragged a skull, opossums, in through the doggy door and set it in a spot of empty floor where we'd be sure to see it. Scoured and tanned a smoker's teeth, it hissed, insatiable. Come August, such effulgence, it's like showering in a 3D movie. Goldfinch squads and speedos yo-yo through the stems, turn hard and vanish peripherally. One cad outside the glass flashed me the shadow running down his ripped finch abs. I was naked and coughed up a bona fide gasp. That's all true. And you are being very patient. You are. You really are. I wouldn't have been able to handle it. So these are some April poems that I wrote. This is called Becauses. Becauses. Enough with the ellipses, because. I watched the monster movie, mouth open, because that's how I'm steering the maulings, because. See the silent bubble burst on Family Feud, because, not sorry, because. Just climbing on stage is a giddy up, because. Climbing on stage is jacuzzis, because. Do I you, mouthing I Godzilla, or may Godzilla grate its graze upon you, because. My mouth can't park in the wee lot, because. I can't reel it, really, because. In other words, my mouth writes checks. My ass can't park in the me lot, because. Do we muff it? Do we say muff it? No, we just go for it. Okay. This is called When AI Said You Look Good. When AI said, you look good in that bathrobe, again, I typed, you lick rubber boots. Took a screenshot, named it the date, and saved it to a pile of screenshots on my desktop. If the committee asks, did you tongue the signal back? Flare it up? What they're really asking is, would you call what you have a collaboration? I will say, like a cop? Nah, dude. Ha! Behold my trove of fond or harmonies. In every one, I am heavily make-upped and overly overclothed. And this is not an April poem, this is a found poem. Music for Diplomats. When the embassy employees reported strange noises, headaches, nausea, extreme pain, cognitive issues, and hearing loss, anonymous American officials told AP the cause was long-range acoustic devices, L-rods, hidden inside the residences. L-rods can be undetectable and cause extreme pain and hearing loss from 5 miles away. L-rods are used in more than 70 countries. Practical applications include deterring birds from aircraft paths. What geese, honking in their V's, must think of this? You can listen to all these sounds on the internet. So this is my last poem. This is called Floater. Good morning, this is Carl from Marketing USA. I was on acid. How are you doing today? Fine. Martha was on acid too. Her gigantic Muppet smile had started to fold. My boyfriend left 2 hits on the counter when he went to work. Aw. I thought Martha with the feathered hair was square, but she'd been dosing since 3rd grade. His bed was a parade float we piloted with our minds, backs against the headboard, legs stuck out like pencils, waving at people on the TV news. It started out stupid funny, then morphed into legit feelings of helpfulness, like shoveling coal into a fire that kept the talkers ringed in light until the phone rang. Uh-oh, Martha said. because she had a fiance and a graphic design job already lined up, and ambulances were Dopplering all over Rochester. But I picked up because people call on phones. That was my free acid to the world. And I hope Carl won a prize for all the questions we answered that wintry afternoon. What's your highest level of education? 1. First grade? Yeah. I passed the phone to Martha, and she wholly absorbed it. Rent? No. Yes. $1 million. I'd underestimated Martha. She was balls deep and knew exactly when to hang up. I wished I'd high-fived her more. I mean, Martha, I wish I high-fived you more.
That was so good. Thank you, Jennifer, Tara, for coming to help me celebrate this thing and to make sure I didn't have to stand up here for 45 minutes talking. Thank all of you for coming. I really appreciate it. And thanks to Beaverdale for hosting this and letting me share some poetry with you.
Get a little closer to the mic.
A little closer, sure. Yeah, I'm going to start with a few poems here and we'll see how it goes. The horizon sets its watch. Somewhere, it's garbage day. The stakes are never so high, there aren't motions to go through. Every day needs its pull. Another thing gone lifeless for an exterminator to usher into the bed of his truck. The Lord works in mysterious ways as another way of saying you're screwed, but alive enough to know it. What a person swallows fills them until it doesn't, makes friends of the dark inside that pang until eventually it eats the friend. Every day's a new hell, says the exterminator to the quiet in the cab, as the world grows less mournful by the hour. The way an empty cage becomes an opportunity to ask, do you want to keep going? Of all the beauties worth not naming, it's a blessing the first name we give to anything born is blessing. Flowers wrecked with blight atop the weekly trash. Flowers just because. The blue carcass of whatever was the night before, until something better strikes, how fine it fits. Desert Pass. Tell me our skin didn't draw red until the invention of the deep wound. That stepping on a shard of ancient fulgurite only opened us, made us love the fractal flowers of our lightning scars more. Tell me we built shelter to unsee each other as outdoor creatures, to stay lost and fall headlong into love's natural wreckage. If our union is ruinous, say ruin is a good thing, the kind of glut achieved between two empty people. Think of it like this. A hungry coyote tooth shucks the last of the mesquite beans and learns what it means to wait. Wild grasses crave the rock field in spite of deadness, what they know of thirst. When we stand together on a mesa, it's never better or worse than this. The horizon cuts our vision, and one of us thinks of where the cliff begins, and the other thinks of flesh, the seam left when it heals. Brood whatever. In the beginning, the word already existed. Someone woke at dawn, heard cicadas droning on about God knows what, and had no choice but to write that slop. From year zero, it's been clear. The buzzing roars, the buzzing cuts entirely. Somewhere in the ash, a branchy end is felt. Because time's easy to measure, and therefore easy to waste. Because a cicada in a poem is as good a sign as any to quit reading, sleep it off a few years longer. I probably shouldn't be a father, or at the very least, speak to my son until he can string 2 words together. Lighten up. Bad day? Get bent. It should matter that we've both been crying in the grass, miserable with teeth whose hatching is and was our first act of wanting to escape ourselves. It should break my heart that it doesn't. Easy does it. It's starting to rain. The weight of all this blood is crushing me. Thank you. So the title of the book, there's a series of poems in here called something Domestica. And the idea for it came when I was writing that chapbook eons ago, because it's a lot of insect poems. And I would sort of go down these Wikipedia wormholes, researching insects. And there was a year when my wife and I lived in Las Vegas when we had tons of houseflies. And I was reading about the housefly. Its scientific name is Muscus domestica. Wormhole ensued. And I sort of had this idea, like, I could do that with poems. I could write different forms, form domestica, form domestica. So there's some of those in there. I wrote a whole bunch that are in the garbage because that's where they belong. But there are a couple that I wanted to share with you that turned out okay. So one of them is a Japanese form. It's like a collage poem. And one of them is a wedding song poem. This first one is called Zuihitsu Domestica. My first night as a husband, I inherit the field of my mother's body, her landscape of empty whispers. She found a mountain far away and hasn't stopped climbing. On weekends, my father sleeps all day, sweats through his jeans, a spiny knot of bottle caps dissolving his front pocket. The same record spins on the turntable. James Taylor's Dad Loves His Work. Traditional wedding vows are little more than transmutations, the changing of one into another. When meatpacking plants boil off cattle blood, the whole town smells of rust and tallow. Some people are genetically predisposed to find the aroma sweet. They say there's no getting used to how often their mouths water. I work in collections at the local history museum. The curator's favorite joke, preservation is the art of not changing anything. Honeymooning is a tradition passed down from the bees. The queen spends weeks with lovers in meadows of dandelion. When she returns to the hive, she crawls to its center, remains there till death. Mother waits for the night before trash day to throw out her grocery store carnations. The weekly garbage transformed into burial, a kind of ceremony. The slaughterhouse donates boxes of old chainmail gloves. The more yellow sinew crusted to the fingertips, the greater appreciated value. Does my bride feel my fingers running through her hair? Will she count the strands yoked around my wedding ring come morning? Preservation is the art of not changing anything. After the divorce, my father begs the prairie to swallow him. The tall grass clenched in his fist, at once real and impossible to hold. A wife around a husband, around a wife. Throughout the 18th century, human hair was used to make commemorative art. Loved ones would snip enough from the head of the departed to braid a wreath of flowers, a latticework frame for an old wedding photograph. We keep unwanted things because there are so many different kinds of intimacy on this earth. When pink smoke phantoms the grasslands, the mountains in the distance seem to press the soil down a little harder. Don't ever leave me. Preservation is the art of not changing anything. In the dream, a housefly beats her head against the hotel window. My mother points to her chest. In here, it's an easy walk from the pasture to the moon. Epithalamium domestica. There are many forests that will find you lost and naked. Guidebooks say to look for pine beetles staving dry rot, and in that soft darkness, dig in, be still. The hollow space two creatures share is called a kiss. Our tongues carry splinters like kindling. Every passion needs its chastity. What is marriage if not the first thread of smoke that rises from a grove when the valley dims her light? The distant glow always spotted by a tired woodsman. They'll pry us out. They'll shoulder us back to the village. I promise. It's really cool to be here for National Poetry Month. This month is also Autism Awareness Month. And there are a lot of poems in here about fatherhood, parenthood, and some inspired by my son, Donovan, who's sitting right there. He's a pretty cool guy. If you want to talk dinosaurs, monster trucks, Simpsons, animal Royal Rumbles, he'll bend your ear after monster. Yes, he'll bend your ear after this. But I did want to read one poem inspired by him, and then I'll have one more after that. Cognitive milestones. We leave in the morning and the world begins cold. There's a forest past the barbed fence full of deer. Some deer sleep on the side of the road for the rest of their lives. The word deer. The word dead. Wave bye-bye to every passing thing. Wave bye-bye through the daycare window. Some things make us cry, no matter what. Teachers will tend the wilt of you around their ankles. How a body tangles so easily in the wire of another. Anyone will call you dear. To be held by the nearest embrace that will have you. This is called a day. People wake in the newness of each and call it good. When the birds start singing, it's time to get up. Sometimes the sun is lying beside you at the end of a dream. Sometimes it hurts to even open your eyes. Thanks again, everybody, for coming. I hope you had a good time. We've got one more poem. Buckle up for it. It's a special poem to me. A few years ago, I went to Disney World for the first time. I'm not a Disney adult. I will resist that forever. But
Do you swear?
I hope I'm not. But I did have a magical experience there. And this poem is about that. It's called Spaceship Earth. There's an epigraph in it that starts it by Judi Dench. It says, surprisingly, the answers lie in our past. Judi Dench, Spaceship Earth, 2007 to present. Here, in this hostile world, the mammoth keeps dying. Every 15 minutes, our ancestors leave the cave to re-spear the wounds they've already made. A scribe never finishes chiseling the ibis, while their pharaoh mid-diatribe turns to me, one of another million fathers in the tired dark of this ride, and smiles. Thank the Phoenicians. Thank Pythagoras, lecturing endlessly, pupils bored and nodding the years away. Thank the animatronic horse forever waiting, an apple in the groom's hand just out of reach, this reminder of how close we all are to being good girls. Here in this future, I have a son who points at a monk asleep at a transcription desk and exclaims, "It's Daddy." A wife who laughs, points at an even older-looking Gutenberg in a funny hat eyeing his parchment. "Look, it's Daddy again." Of all the hereafters to inherit, I've got to admit it's not so bad being stuck in this one, running circles most algorithms only dream of. The choirs sing to God as so many do, hallelujah, hallelujah, etc. New languages spoken not by man, but the family couched in cathode glow, mute and happy as their evening rut, so finely worn, are invented to crunch bigger numbers, send a few more people to the moon. There's a mountain of dark stars before the omnimover stalls on the track. No attraction to view except a garage in California. Steve Jobs working the same old glitch, circuitry greening with code under his plastic fingers. At the end, the stars are there to ache us into asking whatever we haven't brought ourselves to ask. Could I live the rest of my nights on the cusp of breakthrough? Am I as bright as everything my face held long before I knew to make the face pleasant? Here, in this beginning, the best one can hope for is being and remembered for being so. A body that continues brief as ruin, smolder, clay, and again, managing the world of tomorrow, managing just fine. Thank you.
Do you want to take a couple questions?
Sure, if folks have questions, we can field them. If you don't have them, that's fine too.
You talked a little bit about like your creative process, like high level. You don't need to get into it. Just like you gather things from all around, or you just sit down and so I'm gonna just write right now. And whoever.
Yeah, I
any
think
of you.
we could all touch on it. I mean, I think it's painful, right? Most of it's false starts. A lot of garbage gets written. And like 85% of the time, I can't stand writing. I'd rather be watching TV or playing Nintendo or something. But it's really a matter, I mean, my process is really like collecting as much stuff as I can and just putting in reps, because I know most of it's going to be lousy and sort of, and it's going to take some time to find something that actually generates some momentum. So you sort of get used to, you know, in the same way somebody like exercises, you don't get buff overnight. You sort of just process and go and go and go. And eventually stuff just sort of like, oh, I didn't realize I had generated that much material. But I don't know. How about for you?
I have always been attracted to weird little things I hear, or something I see that isn't poetic, and I think, I'm gonna take this over to a poem. I found one today that started with this line is in pro sans, like for a font. I'm like, it's going in a poem. That's good. It's gonna start a poem. So I try and swing it. I don't know where it's gonna go. If I know where it's gonna, if I think I know where it's gonna go, I'm dead in the water before I start. I have to actually be moving when I write it.
I have a lot of different processes for poems. My natural process is not one that works, which is I have this like, beautiful image or idea, like, oh, this needs to be on the page, and I put it there, and it just sounds like a try hard. But one that I've really been enjoying recently is just throwing a bunch of garbage on the page, like totally disconnected thoughts, like something I heard, an image I saw, maybe an idea from a book I'm reading, and then look at it all together and see what I can kind of find through all of those disconnected pieces. And what always comes through is something that I've been needing to say. So kind of pushing myself to just get words and then refining has really helped me release whatever part of me is like, it has to be beautiful. So.
You chose them. Yeah, but the act of choosing them, you're gonna sew them together. Oh, that's right. You're right.
I have a question. When you're putting a collection together, how do you do that? Do you write to the collection, or do you have poems and then you fit them into a collection? What's the process?
It's a long process. This book took, I gave a talk a month ago at my MFA alma mater, and I was trying to count how many iterations of this there were, at least 7 or 8 versions of this manuscript. And there are a whole bunch of poems that I thought were perfect for it, that fit the bill, that just didn't make sense, or weren't carrying enough weight. I think at some point I stopped dictating to the manuscript so much and really had to acknowledge and come to terms with, like, you want this to fit, it's a square peg, this book is a round hole, you have to be very honest about what the manuscript wants, and realize that if it's going in a direction that you don't want it to go in, it's a 2,000-pound bull, you can't bring it back and make it cooperate, right? It's got a mind of its own a little bit. And some of it's just luck. I mean, you know, there was a moment when I was organizing this, I dropped all my papers on the floor, and I was like, oh, those go to, I never put these few things together, right? Like, I think you have to bank on some of that kind of stuff happening too.
Cool.
Jennifer, what about you? I mean, you got a lot more than me.
I think it's like a mixtape.
Yeah.
There are a set of bangers that I want in there, but the question is what goes between them. And if I had my way, it would be 100 miles an hour forward, rip it back into reverse, then take off as fast as I can that way, but apparently people don't like that, and it doesn't sustain their attention. So really, I am writing around the poems the whole time. It's real, like it's a phase, and somebody else helps me put them together.
That's nice.
Yes, it is.
I need to find that, yeah.
I have one more question. Talk about your cover. I find the cover very interesting.
Yes, this, I wish I could take credit for this, I can't. The folks at University of Arkansas Press sent me a bunch of different really cool options, and I felt kind of bad because I had asked them to solicit the work of a painter that I really like, to say, will you reach out to this guy's estate and see if he'll do it, or his estate will do it. It took them a long time. They worked and worked and worked at it. They sent me the mock-up of that, and I hated it. It wasn't good. But along with that, they sent a whole bunch of options. And this was one of them. It's an Egon Schiele painting. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, I guess the search is over. Like, I couldn't have come up with something that beautiful. And they did an amazing job and were super, they had an explanation for it that they sent me, like, we think this matches these poems and blah, 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 which I don't know if is the norm, but I was very grateful to have it. But yeah, it's super beautiful. I'm very blessed to have it.
Right. Other questions?
Yeah.
I'm just curious overall, where do you all see your work going in the next 5 years? Or what do you hope to explore within your writing within like the next 5 years?
That's a really good question. I was talking with some friends about this. I mean, we sort of felt like it was a problem because a few of my friends, all of our first books came out in the past couple of months, and we're like, crap, what are we supposed to do now? I didn't think this would happen in the first place. And one of them said, I couldn't remember what writer they were talking about, but some old guy was like, said that he thought every poet was just kind of writing and rewriting the same poem for their entire life, like continuing to explore a subject with a lot of different angles or cloaks around them, right? But the core of what they were trying to get at never really changed. And so I think for me, right now, I'm just trying out different approaches to get out of the house and to explore outwardly in some ways, to try to be funnier in some ways. It's a mixed bag so far. But it feels good to, I guess, sort of put that to bed and just say, like, I'm a beginner again in some ways. I get to test out things that no one's going to see, and I get to fail in some ways. That feels kind of fun. but yeah, it's a very strange thing to sort of look forward and expect a lot of stuff moving forward. I don't know, how about you?
I want to get weird AF. Gone through menopause, so now, I mean, I get to kick it. That way, just do whatever I want, ride a horse naked. And I want to tell people that I love them.
I have a lot of different projects in mind, but what I've been trying to reach for in the last few months is the like childhood glee that I would feel like reading a book for 8 hours, and I'm inching towards that again. And I want the same thing with my writing of like when I was in 2nd grade and wrote a story about a girl who turned into a mermaid. Like I want that feeling again, and I'm getting like little glimpses of that excitement in that play. And so maybe it's a book about mermaids. Maybe it's more adult. Maybe it's somewhere. Maybe it's both. But that process, I think, of like excitement and like, oh, I can't wait to sit down and write. I want to keep feeling that.
Okay. Well, let's hear it for our 3 poets.